All right, Mr. Goldberg here. 4.3 Cultural Awareness in International Business, BBB Forum. You know what's going on here. Doing business with other countries. So let's have a look at this. Where cultural differences exist, businesses must decide whether and what to what extent its products and processes can be adapted to a foreign environment. So yes, you might be producing something here and it's going well. Will that fit into the other culture? That's the big question. So developing cultural awareness is not an easy task, but it is critical to a business's success in a foreign country, especially the people within your business, of course. So certain cultural traits can be studied and learned, like how to greet people, how to give gifts properly. Attitudes and values can only be understood by living in a country and experiencing its culture firsthand. So that's a bit different. So you can make these generalizations, but you really have to be there to experience, what people value in the other country. All right, so we have an example from your text with the wonderful Roots company. So when Roots expanded to the US, China, and Taiwan, they found, originally they were made for the Canadian climate. And actually, I've seen this too with, I forgot the name of the company, the jacket manu, Canada Goose, sorry. Forgot about them. Canada Goose. I've seen Canada Goose sold in the southern United States, which I find very odd because what do they need all that warm clothing for? But it's considered a fashionable thing. But no, what Roots did was they adapted to local culture by coming out with products with lighter fabrics for the warmer climates. So factors affecting doing business internationally, there's 4 of them. Control of foreign operations, the extent of foreign operations, the number of foreign operations, and the degree of cultural difference. So we'll get into all 4 of these. So control of foreign operations. Local employees will have knowledge of the cultural differences. So if you have local employees, that certainly helps. So business should research the culture of businesses moving to other parts of the world. Make sure there is a market for the product before setting up a branch in that other country. And local employees working with the foreign branch must have a high degree of cultural awareness. So there could be cultural differences between the employees and management, for example. So we've got to make sure that people are coming from the same direction. So great example of all this is McDonald's in India. So instead of just offering what they offered here, they made adaptations. So, and this is happening with other companies too. So American fast food companies realized that they needed to have vegetarian offerings in India. As we mentioned in the last video, a significant percentage of the population are vegetarians. So the Big Mac has been replaced with the Chicken Maharaja Mac and the Aloo Tikki Burger, which is a patty made of mashed potatoes, peas, and Indian spices to match local tastes. And here's some examples of it. I went on the McDonald's India site to get these great images. As well, there's a vegetarian pizza McPuff that was introduced at a low price of 20 rupees to appeal to consumers in a country with, generally speaking, low to average incomes. And chai tea was served as part of McDonald's McCafe line, so much different than coffee. And there's an example of strawberry green tea, which looks really interesting, actually. Okay, number 2, the extent of foreign operations. So a Canadian business that strictly exports a commodity like oil or gold requires less cultural awareness, so, like a standardized product, than a business that operates something like a manufacturing plant, a corporate office, a retail store, a restaurant in partnership with foreign people as well. So an example of that is IKEA in India. So IKEA restaurants will feature, and they do this in other parts of the world too, but an extensive menu of Indian cuisine, including biryani, idli, samosas. Oh, missed the samosa sales at Martin Grove. We used to have them all the time. Anyways, so there won't be as much of a focus on Swedish meatballs in India, especially because of the so many people being vegetarian, which is kind of interesting. Number of foreign operations, our third factor here. So the more operations a business has in foreign markets, the greater the need for cultural knowledge, which makes sense. So an example here is GM in China. So In China, owning a foreign car is considered to be a status symbol. So what GM did was they made an adaptation in that they introduced a luxury Buick minivan, the Buick GL8, which is pictured over here. And it noticed that business executives preferred minivans over cars. So they made this minivan, but inside it's like a luxury vehicle. It kind of looks like, your standard minivan, but not really. So they don't produce these minivans for the North American market, which is interesting. So it's just made for China. All right, degree of cultural difference is the last factor here. So when language, habits, beliefs, and attitudes of a culture are different from Canada's, it's important to study the culture of the new market, which makes sense. Learning the language or hiring a native speaker to manage foreign operations is, of course, very helpful. Okay, the impact on Indigenous people. When companies set up factories, distribution centers, retail stores, and other types of businesses in foreign countries, they must be aware of the effect on Indigenous culture, which has really come to the forefront in Canada lately. So there's been some positives. Increased infrastructure has been produced and increased employment has happened, but lots of negatives as well. Occupation and destruction of lands, disrespect of cultural differences, and it's still happening to this day in Canada. So unfortunately, there's a long history of the negative impacts of industry on industrial people around the world, and for sure in Canada, especially when you hear of pipelines being built and many, many other issues. All right, your questions. How does the degree of cultural difference impact international business? How has McDonald's adapted its menu in the Indian market, and what problems did it originally encounter, which wasn't discussed here, but it's in your book? How is IKEA considering culture in expanding its business in India? Why is General Motors focusing on the minivan in China? And what's the controversy surrounding the the site C Dam in British Columbia? Listed explain 3 tips for working effectively with Indigenous people. And we'll look at that in an in-class assignment as well. All right, this has been Mr. Goldberg. We've been talking about not what is culture, but our third part of the text, and I hope you enjoy.